We need to build a wall.
People need to be able to make their own choices in their own lives.
We will empower Americans to live better lives.
Good afternoon, Penn, Trafford, and welcome to PTV's live mock election coverage. Thanks to our new technology, we are allowed to have multiple people down in the library live. I'm Michael Schuley. We have Trent Soames and Dylan Cleveland down in the library currently. Let's go over to Dylan.
Thank you, Michael. We are here live in the Media Center. A great atmosphere today. Through 4 periods, students have been voting. They've been signing in at the registration table, proceeding over to the booths here. All 4 conference rooms are being used as voting booths with 4 Chromebooks in each room, and students have been able to do exactly what you would do in a real case, as in tomorrow. So a good experience today. Joining me now is social studies teacher Mr. Moses. Thank you for joining us live.
Thank you for having me.
Well, what's the feedback been? How's things been going?
Everything has been running really smoothly. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of people coming in, and the line's been out the door. It's just been excellent, so awesome time.
How important is it to get that realistic experience? We talked a little bit last week in my story, but today actually to see kids get that experience.
Well, I really just want to make sure that they have that understanding that this does mean something. It's an experience that they should really have an understanding of before they actually go into it. Then they have a better understanding ahead of time before they even go for real when they're 18. So.
And you said no issues with any processes or
they're
anything?
coming in, they're signing in, they're moving along quite nicely, and everything's been running smoothly. So.
All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of the technology standpoint and what's going on here in the meeting center. We're going to go back to Mike, who's going to get us set up with Trent Soames going to be talking to some kids. But Mike, what do you got?
All right, yes, this is indeed a unique experience, and to get more of an insight from the students' perspective, we have Trent Soames with Jesse Cox and Athena Biondi. Go ahead, Trent.
Hey, thank you, Mike. We're here in the Media Center with a couple of students who just got out of the polls, Jesse Cox and Athena Biondi. How did you guys experience the polls today?
They were pretty good.
Now we're going to ask you some questions about the election today. What issues did you find important this election?
Economics and budget are pretty important to me.
When it came to both of their tax plans based on their cutting and raising them.
All right. How did you make a determination of those issues? Did you go on candidates' websites, watch the debates, etc.?
Debates were pretty helpful overall.
Mainly debates. I went on a few of their websites.
What websites did you go on?
I mainly went on Trump's and a little bit on Johnson's.
Awesome. That's good to hear. So besides the debates, what other things do you think all Americans should have looked at before making their decision?
Well, the Facebook Live rally feeds were pretty interesting to watch.
Did you go on any of the rallies in Pittsburgh?
I did not get any, no.
No?
I use Twitter a lot because they do the live of each of the debates and the rallies, but I think that everyone should look into each candidate, not just the one that you're mainly for.
Excellent. And regardless of who you supported, what candidate do you think ran the best campaign in Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, and then the United States?
Overall, probably Hillary Clinton. She raised a ton of money, and she was just overall the best candidate. Democrat.
I agree. She ran the best when it came to raising money. I also think that Trump did very well because he's very outspoken, so people could really get out there.
All right. Well, this is Jesse Cox and Athena Biondi. Thank you so much for giving us these interviews, and back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you very much, Trent. Let's take a quick look at our exit poll. 208 of you guys have voted in our poll, and currently Hillary Clinton has 31% of the vote, Donald Trump has 56% of the vote, and Gary Johnson has 12% of the vote, and then Jill Stein is down at 1%. We're now going to go back to Trent Soames, and Trent, I believe you have Russell Richardson and Cody Gerkman with you.
All right, we're here with Russell Richardson and Cody Gerkman. We're going to ask them some questions about the election. They just got out from voting, and we're having a good time discussing the election. So, what issues were important to you this election?
Immigration, foreign policy, domestic policy, and the legalization of marijuana.
So?
I'd say education, healthcare, and taxes.
Now, what did you use to make a decision based off of those issues? Did you on candidates' websites, debates, etc.?
I watched the debates. I went online and did my own research through Politico. I did some fact checking on what the candidates were actually saying, because you shouldn't just listen to what they're saying, because politicians are known to lie or skew facts. So I like to get the fact from those.
Now, what did you think about the debates?
I thought the debates were there wasn't too much substance in them. It seemed like they were trying to just take shots at each other. I would have liked to see Gary Johnson make that debate. He unfortunately was excluded from the debate. I'm sure he would have had lots of great substance to say in there, but unfortunately things did not go his way. But the debates were all right. I mean, I was expecting a little more out of them, but at the same time, I really wasn't expecting much.
And what did you use?
I did the same thing. I watched all of the debates. I used both candidates' websites. I tried to keep up with the news, see what they were saying, even though it can be skewed one way or the other, but I tried to get my information from those sources.
Now, besides the debates, did you guys go on any websites? What do you think that students should go on before they go to the polls tomorrow?
Oh, I like to watch CNN and Fox News because they seem to contrast each other, so I like to get that unbiased opinion, and that's why I'm probably voting for Gary Johnson, because I'm very unbiased. But yeah, definitely check out CNN, Fox News, go online, Politico. I can't think of any more off the top of my head right now, but that's what I use.
Cody? I would say the same thing as him. I mean, watch the news, but make sure you're watching more than one station, because one can say so much different things than the other, and make sure you do your own research. Use websites like he was saying. That's really important to get all your facts.
All right, and regardless of who you're supporting in this election, who do you think ran the best campaign in Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, and nationwide?
It's tough to say. If you want to go back to the primaries, I have to say Bernie Sanders ran the best campaign because he had a grassroots campaign. But same with Gary Johnson. He also has a grassroots campaign. Hillary Clinton receiving huge donations. She's outspending Trump by millions and millions and millions, But if you want to go by overall production, you have to go by Hillary Clinton. She has produced the best numbers, most amount of money. She has campaigned the most. She has Obama campaigning for her. So I'd have to go with Clinton for sure.
And yourself?
I'd say the same thing. Hillary Clinton's run the best all-around campaign.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for your interviews, and now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Trent. Very interesting perspective from Russell and Cody. We're now going to go down to Dylan Cleland. Dylan, what did you expect coming into today, and how has what you've seen down on the floor met your expectations?
Sorry, man.
All right. Seems
we
though we don't have Dylan right now. We're actually
checking things out here. Students, more classes are starting to move in for this fifth period voting session. And as students continue to move in, I think Trent Soames actually has another interview. Matt, you want to take it back over to him?
All right, we're here live with Jake Santo, a Hillary Clinton supporter. He's been working the polls all day, and now he just voted finally. So what issues were important to you this election?
The issues that were important to me, primarily her tax plan. I wanted to see an improvement in what she wanted to do for our country. I was very important on social issues regarding abortion, gay rights, a lot of issues regarding that.
And what did you use as a determination for those issues? Candidate's website? Or?
I looked on her website, I watched different debates, I looked on media outlets, including the local newspapers and different television stations.
Now, regardless of who you supported, who do you think ran the best campaign overall?
Overall, I think Bernie Sanders really did. I thought he brought out a lot of young voters needing for the future of our country. He just was able to capture the message of our country. I think Donald Trump's actually done that. I don't think his campaign has been well run overall, but I thought he's done a well job. Hillary Clinton getting a lot of donations from different donors. So overall, I think candidates have done a pretty good job.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you, Santo, and we'll go back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Trent. Good interview with Jake Santo there. Now, make sure you come and vote on our Twitter. We're up to 227 votes on our exit poll. Donald Trump is still in the lead with 55% of the vote, followed by Hillary Clinton with 32% of the vote, and 12% for Gary Johnson, and then 1% for Jill Stein. Now, for Dylan and Trent, what do you think have been important issues that have been talked about down on the floor today?
Well, I think it's a variety. I think it really depends on who they support. As you heard Jake mention abortion and gay rights, that's important to a lot of Clinton supporters, whereas on the Trump side, economics takes the stand, and that's kind of the more important thing. I don't know, Trent, you were talking to the students. What was the feel that you got?
You know what, Dylan? I think you're exactly right. I think that for Trump supporters, it was economics, immigration, whereas Clinton supporters, it was more social issues. I think the Democrats, especially the young Democrats this election, have been focusing on the social issues, and I think that was definitely made popular by the Bernie campaign, and it transferred over a little bit to the Hillary campaign, and she tried to get that millennial vote. And then I think the Trump campaign is really focused on economics because that's where the conservatives really do have a strong stance. So I think that's where it's at.
I think that's the point at each issue. It really does break down to candidates, in my opinion. You know, you got to look, and that it's been very hard to do this campaign season. A lot of non-topical things being mishmashed and thrown around. So when you really get down to it and look at the issues, I think, as we mentioned, it's the economics for Trump supporters and social issues for Democrats. Mike, I think we're going to. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, I definitely think what you guys have touched upon has been right. Our exit poll actually shows Donald Trump with a 55% lead. Based on your knowledge of the area and how this poll is run, and plus an advanced knowledge of how student body, talking to the students throughout the course of the election process, are you guys really surprised? Like, I don't find it very surprising that Donald Trump has a 55% of the vote in our poll. I feel that this is a very red area here in Westmoreland County. And let's go back to Dylan Cleland for another interview.
All right, I'm here with Saverio Esposito. He voted. He has his sticker on, as do I. Sav, what did you feel was one of the most important issues this election?
This election, I thought immigration was hit hard by both candidates. Most important, I thought the healthcare reform was most important.
Okay. All right. What else do you think? Let me ask you about this, actually. The experience today. Are you old enough to vote tomorrow?
I'm 6 days off, Dylan.
That is a shame. That's tough. I heard a couple people were off by a couple days.
My birthday is on Monday, so I'm off.
Well, you did get the experience today. Was it authentic? What did you think of it?
I thought it was pretty authentic. I worked a table over there, which was pretty cool. Signing people in, but it was definitely authentic. Using the media center, or the library media center. I thought it was pretty cool how we did this, and we'll see the results.
All right, thank you, Sav, for joining me. We're going to send it back to Mike Shuley in the studio. Mike?
Thank you, Dylan. This is pretty much it for our coverage here during 5A. We'll be right back here shortly in 5B for more interviews and more insight on our mock election. For everyone here at PTV, thank you for watching, and we'll see you back here shortly.
We need to build a wall.
People need to be able to make their own choices in their own lives.
We will empower Americans to live better lives.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our 5B presentation of our mock election, live from in here and down at the library, or media center rather. In the media center, we have Trent Soames and Dylan Cleland, and Dylan Cleland is ready for an interview with Mrs. Smith. Go ahead, Dylan.
Thank you, Michael. We are here in the media center for some more coverage for you. This time I'm with social studies teacher Mrs. Smith. Can you talk about the importance of voting, both today and today's election that you guys have put on, and then tomorrow?
Absolutely. One of the big reasons why we wanted to do this is not only to find out what the response would be from the student body as far as who they felt should be the next leader. It is also a teachable moment, because what it does is it gets the kids in the habit of going out and voting and exercising that civic responsibility. And once you know how to do it, once you know what that process is like, it's less intimidating when you do it in an actual basis. So we're hoping it forms a habit that will carry over into their adult lives.
How important is it to go out and perform that duty?
I never miss it.
Yeah, I know. I'm very excited. I'll be voting for the first time tomorrow. It's really something you look forward to, as strange as that might sound to some. I'm looking forward to it, and I just want to get in there and experience it. And I feel like today when I voted, it was a good taste of it. And that's exactly what you guys were going for. That was the goal, right?
Absolutely. I know it excites us. It's something we talk about, and going out and voting. We can't wait for the results to come in tomorrow night so we can sit down, watch some TV, and find out what America thinks.
It's been good TV for 8 months leading up to it. I'm sure it'll be good tomorrow night as well. All right, back to you, Mike.
All right, let's go down to Trent Soames. Trent, you're a big Gary Johnson guy. What role he currently in our mock election final poll has 13%. What kind of an impact does a third-party candidate have on our election process?
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. I really couldn't hear anything you were saying, but I think I'm supposed to talk about Gary Johnson a little bit, so I will. If Gary Johnson hits 5% this election, the Libertarian Party will qualify, according to the Federal Elections Commission, for federal matching funds, which will basically get the Libertarian Party $10 million right off the bat, which will put them in competition with the Republican and Democratic parties. That will pretty much end the two-party system. It's also very significant that one of the candidates, Gary Johnson, was on ballot in all 50 states this year. That hasn't happened since the 1990s with Ross Perot, and that is very significant because it gives all Americans a third option. Also, it's pretty significant that Jill Stein was polling at 2% in our polls because that would be the first time the Green Party, I'm sorry, not the first time, but that would be in recent history the first time that the Green Party has done so significantly well. They haven't done, after the fall of Ralph Nader, they kind of had a personality cult with Nader, and once he left, it kind of put the Green Party in a vacuum for power, and now Jill Stein has kind of turned it around and made it something that is viable, a viable option again. They're on the ballot in most states, and theoretically could win. But it's very interesting that Gary Johnson and Jill Stein are doing so well in our polls to the point that they would both, the Libertarian Party would qualify for federal matching funds, and the Green Party would almost qualify for federal matching funds. So that's very significant. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Trent, very much. Let's go over to Dylan Cleland, who is ready with a student for an interview.
With a sophomore, his name is Breno, and you casted your vote. I watched you go into the booth. What did you think of the experience?
It's pretty smooth, pretty simple. I got my vote in all right.
Did you think it was enjoyable? Did you like to actually get involved after hearing, leading up to this election? I'm sure you've heard, just as everyone else has, all of the opinions, strong opinions going on. Were you glad to finally go in and cast yours?
Yeah, I felt like I'm finally part of something that relates to the presidential election, even though it is a mock election.
Can I ask you what maybe one important issue was? Do you know what was really important to you?
Economics, jobs, and all around just money.
Okay, yeah, that's very understandable. That's a big part of it. And we were talking earlier how Trump supporters are more. The economic thing is more important to them, and then Clinton supporters, the social issues are more important. So I can see how that is very important to you, no matter who you do support, and we're obviously not going to go on with that. But it is good that you were able to balance that out, as we all are trying to do as young voters, and then actually get into the poll and do that. So I appreciate you joining me, and I'm glad you were able to vote, and I see you got your sticker too, as do I. All right, Mike, let's go back to you for a check of the polls.
All right, thank you, Dylan. As for our exit poll today, we currently have, after a quick refresh here, we currently have 292 votes. Donald Trump has 52% of our vote. Hillary Clinton has 32%. Gary Johnson has 13%. And Jill Stein has 3%. Now let's go back to the media center with Trent Soames in an interview with a student.
All right, I'm here with Layla Welsh. She's a first-time mock election voter here at PT, and she just got out of the polls. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. What issues were important to you this election?
Gun control and
Great, that's awesome. How did you make a determination on those issues? Like, did you watch the debates? Did you go on the candidates' websites?
I did both. I found to watch the debate to see how they explained their policies and how they believed in their policies, and then I looked online. I did in writing.
Now, a lot of students were really upset that the debates didn't have more have more actual policy inside of them. Did you find that disappointing?
Yeah, it was a lot of them going at each other and taking blows to each other and trying to make the other one look bad, not actually covering what they believed in.
So, regardless of your actual political opinions, regardless of what you think, what candidate had the best campaign in Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, and then in the United States?
I think it was Hillary Clinton.
And why do you think that?
Whenever the campaign, it never really bashed Trump, talked more about what she believed in her policies. Why you should.
She also raised a significant amount of money. I think the numbers were in the hundreds of millions of dollars compared to Donald Trump's. Do you think that's significant?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Layla, and we're going to go back to Mike in the studio.
All right, thank you, Trent, very much. We're going to actually go straight back to Dylan Cleveland, who is waiting with another student.
Voter here. Her name is Bella. She is a sophomore. She actually has not gotten a chance to go into the polls yet, but she's anxious. They're right over there, and that's where she's going to be heading after we're done. Are you excited to get this experience?
I am excited because it gives me an opportunity to give my own opinion, even though I'm not 18, obviously, so I can't actually get out there and give my opinion on who I would vote for in this election.
Okay, and now I'm going to ask you one more question about the issues. There's lots of them that are being covered. What was one of the more important ones this campaign season?
I think illegal immigration was really important, and just border control as a general. And I think that personally, Donald Trump can help with that. His ideas may be out of the box, but they can definitely help with that issue, in my opinion.
All right, thank you for joining me. We're going to go back to Mike in the studio.
All right, thank you very much, Dylan. And I believe we're ready to head down to Trent Soames, who is waiting with Mr. Davis for a quick quote.
I don't know. All right. Well, anyway, and then. Oh, hey guys, I'm live here with Mr. Davis. Sorry, we were just going over the questions I was going to ask. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Now, did you get a chance to vote in the mock election?
No, I did not.
But you will be voting in the real election, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. You think that's important for students to go or no?
Oh, I think it's important for anybody who's eligible to vote. I mean, it's one of our most important things that we should do as a citizen.
So what issues were important to you this election season?
Jobs, economy are the two big things that I'm voting on.
And how did you make a determination on those issues? Did you go on candidates' websites, watch the debates? Like, what did you do?
Candidates' websites, the debates, those are absolutely important sources of information. But I also watched independent sources of information to see how they're analyzed and whether or not what the candidates are telling me is true or not.
Now, what if there are still undecided voters in this building? What would you suggest they do?
Well, they have to find out what's most important to them, and then they have to go and look up the information. To be a voter, you have to be informed, and it's not good enough to just go off of your gut. You have to learn something to be able to vote for something, not just against something.
Can you suggest like some specific websites?
Well, some websites I use is Reuters.com, which is a German news wire. That's a good source of information. Politico, if you worry about the politics, they usually do a nice job as far as neutral reporting is concerned. Those are two good sources of information I use to try to maintain a neutral base when I make a decision as important as this.
Now, we're about to go to Dylan about social media in this election. How do you think social media played a part in this election?
Game changer. Social media for the first time has been this is for the first time social media has been used as a driver of opinion in American history, and I think this is the beginning of something that's going to last for a long, long time.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Davis, and we're going to go back to Mike in the studio.
All right, thank you, Trent. Now, a question for Dylan here. Dylan, social media is a big factor in our everyday lives now. Of course, Donald Trump has had some problems with his social media accounts this election cycle. He's had a few blunders. How do you think social media has played into our election so far?
Well, it's very important in this day and age, as you said, Michael, and even working with different, classes up here at the high school, we've tried to evolve the use of social media, both at the newspaper and then here with PTV as well. But as far as the candidates go and the standpoints that they've used it to, I think some have used it effectively and others have not. I think Gary Johnson has done a good job of getting to young voters. That's always been one of his things. Trent has talked about that a little bit too. He's able to use social media effectively to get out there and really get their attention. And then you have Donald Trump on hand as well, where with his Twitter fights that he's invoked and provoked at times, that could hurt him. Has Hillary Clinton, she just really hasn't used it that much. So Gary Johnson has probably used it the most effectively, Michael.
Indeed. I mean, Donald Trump has been very active on his Twitter account. However, he has, surprisingly or not, said some very controversial things using Twitter. Let's go back down to Trent Soames now with another interview.
And we were just talking about social media and a little bit about the candidates' campaigns. What issues were important to you this election?
The issues that were important to me this election were immigration, economics, and healthcare.
Now, did you use social media? Did you go on the candidates' Facebook pages, their Twitter pages, Instagram, to make a determination on who you were going to vote for?
Yes, I did. I viewed both of the candidates' Twitter and Instagram pages in order to make my decision.
Now, who do you think had, regardless of who you ended up supporting, who do you think had the better social media game?
I think Trump had a better social media game because he was always at it while Hillary was posting some things that weren't really necessary.
Now, he did have a couple of controversial, like 2 o'clock in the morning Twitter rants. Do you think that's going to end up affecting his campaign?
I don't think it will affect his campaign because it happens. I mean, if you want to have the argument, you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the benefit of social media is that you get to be on it basically 24/7. How do you think it's going to end up affecting the election as a whole?
I think it will affect the election as a whole a lot because social media is a big part in today's society, and without it, I think the results would change.
All right, well, thank you, Cole. We're going to go back to Mike in the studio.
All right, thank you guys for watching our 5A and 5B coverage. Make sure you tune back in for 8th period where we will wrap up our results. Our final look at our exit poll, we have Donald Trump with 52% of the vote, Hillary Clinton with 32% of the vote, Gary Johnson with 13%, and Jill Stein with 3%. That is through 292 voters. Once again, thank you guys for watching from everyone here at PTV, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We'll see you 8th period.
Build a wall.
People need to be able to make their own choices in their own lives.
We will empower Americans to live better lives.
We are here to finally review the results. PTV would like to project as the next president Donald Trump, and for the winner of the congressional district number 18, Tim Murphy, and for from the U.S. Senate, Pennsylvania Senator Pat Toomey are our projected winners from our mock poll here today in the Media Center. Now let's go down to Dylan Cleveland with Mrs. Smith in that Media Center.
Thank you, Michael, and those are some very interesting results. I have some numbers for you, actually. 37 students went on to Twitter to cast their vote after voting in the booths behind us. 1,020 actually participated in today's election here, so very successful with that. And 78% of the student population casted a vote today. Are you guys happy with those numbers?
Absolutely. And I think that in the future, we'd like to see them increase.
Yeah, it is very good to see. And then between our Twitter and actual poll, we had a 43% difference. So not too far off with our projection versus the actual numbers, which Michael's going to give you very soon. It's very interesting to see how that all aligns. And then the experience itself, we talked this afternoon. What's it been like the rest of the day?
It's been exciting here. It's run very smoothly. The kids seem to have enjoyed working and coming down and casting their ballot for president.
All right, thank you. And the polls are closed now. You can see not a lot of traffic behind us, but that's all we have as far as this goes. Mike, let's go back to you.
As for the rest of the pool, or as for the rest of the thing, for Dylan and Trent, how do you think that these results ended compared to what you originally thought? Let's go to Trent first. Trent, go ahead.
You know what, Mike? I was not surprised at all by the results. I did expect Donald Trump to win, especially after talking to a lot of the students that seemed to be largely in favor of Trump. You know, almost everyone I interviewed was a Trump supporter. We had a few others, but I'm not surprised at all. I am a little bit surprised at how high Hillary was. I was surprised that Donald Trump didn't landslide Westmoreland County like the Republicans usually do. The Republicans have a great ground game here in Westmoreland County. You know, they're at just about every major function. Democrats, there's sometimes, but I wasn't surprised. I don't think this really reflects the national. I don't think this really reflects the national outcome. I think that Hillary Clinton will eventually win the election.
Dylan into this. Dylan, what do you think?
Representative of Westmoreland County, but I don't believe that it's going to be representative of the entire country tomorrow. But you never know. But the part that I was happy to see was the turnout. All you heard going into this election was it's important to get out and vote. You need to get in and vote. So you need to go ahead and do that tomorrow, but it was great to see it actually happen today. Mike, do you have the official results ready for us?
Yes, I do have the official results, and they will state that Donald Trump won the presidential election here at PT with 57.1% of the vote. Hillary Clinton had 25.3% of the vote. Darrell Castle had half of a percent of the vote. Jill Stein had 1.7% of the vote. Gary Johnson had 12.2% of the vote. And other candidates registered with 4.1% of the presidential vote. As for U.S. Congressional District 18, 920 people, otherwise known as 95.2% of the people voted for Tim Murphy, and other candidates received just 5.3% of the vote. For the U.S. Pennsylvania Senate, 70% of the people decided to vote for Pat Toomey. Only 23.4% voted for Katie McGinty. For for Edward Clifford, it was only 5.6% of the vote, and other candidates received 1.9%. Now, for both Trent and Dylan, how do you feel that these results, now coming in finally, these races, I know Tim Murphy ran unopposed, but even for the Senate, it was pretty much a landslide. How do you guys feel about that?
You know what? I thought it was really interesting that the Libertarian candidate for president, Gary Johnson, received 12%, while Edward Clifford received, I think, what was it, 5%? I think that's interesting that people split their vote like that. Same thing with Jill Stein. I'm kind of surprised that she showed up at 2 or 3%. Sorry, I don't remember the official tally. And I'm not surprised at all that Donald Trump received such a high margin.
You know, Trent, I have to say that I kind of agree. It was interesting to see the third parties kind of make an appearance in this election here at PT. I think it's going to sort of show what America is going to start to see over the next 4, 8, and 12 years. I know that's very far out, but I really do feel that they're starting to shift away from the two-party system.
Well, definitely, especially considering Gary Johnson had 12.2% of the vote, and then Jill Stein accounted for another 1.7% of the vote. And that was just in the presidential race. Trent was talking about earlier about Donald Trump kind of running away with the presidential election, or our mock election here in Westmoreland County, which really doesn't come as a surprise. It's a fairly deep red area. Trump, of course, did end up with 57.1% of the vote, and Clinton with 25.3%. As for our Penn Trafford exit poll, we actually ended up with our 437 votes. 53% went to Donald Trump and 30% went to Hillary Clinton. Johnson had 14% and Jill Stein had 3%. Pretty much to wrap things up, thank you guys for watching. For everyone here at PTV, good job. Make sure, if you can, go out and vote tomorrow. And we would like to thank the faculty and staff here at Penn Trafford for allowing this to happen.